Okay, I guess I'm just a freaking filthy normie then.
No, you're not.
Welcome everyone to Talking Feds. My name is Nathan, aka WSC Stage Creator, and I'm here joined by.
Oh yeah, it's your boy Danny Meltzer, the one, the only, the great, the big dog, the tribal chief, and all those stuff. Nathan, please go to Luke. Go to Luke so I can stop talking.
Yes, Luke from GCW is here again as well.
And unfortunately, guys, MDT Trey White could not make it to this episode. He got caught with the row, but hey, we wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully next week we can have him here on this grand show that time. But for now, what do you got lined up for us, Nathan?
We have a lot to talk about with MDT later on. Hopefully next week we can get him back. But we have been putting out some content recently, and I want to hear what you guys have to say about your newest videos. Starting with Luke, what do you got for us?
So, we just dropped the return of GCW Extreme. And to be honest, it did really well. Honestly, it is if you know in your YouTube dashboard, you can always see how the video does compared to other recent videos. It's a number 1 out of 10, so it's the best one. So it did better than everything on GCW WrestleMania, pretty much.
Yeah, you were.
So it's a good thumbnail, so it looked pretty exciting.
Yeah, right. So
you were actually worried that it wasn't going to do well because I wasn't on it.
Yeah,
I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah, because my commentary is not close to yours, but I think people still enjoyed it, and I tried out some new things. The last tube spot, I gotta thank Danny for that. I always thought he had I always thought he used the video effect on that for some reason, so he helped me out with that.
It was just PNGs. So
what was that? Was that salt that you put as the shattered light tube?
So that's salt, and then combined with a PNG of glass dust, or however you want to call it.
What I use, I just get those little CD stuff, that CD glass covering the glass case of the CD stuff. I just get one and I get another one and I smash one with a hammer a bunch of times until it looks small enough to be believable as shattered glass. I put it on where the people fell through it, and I just pour a crap ton of salt all around. And
so you're just talking about glass here?
Yeah.
I tried that out too recently in the UE vs. Shield.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So it does nothing. It's basically you just got to get a PNGs stuff, use them well, blend them well, and I think you did a pretty good job there, Luke. I was impressed.
Yeah, I was really happy how it turned out, how it looked, and overall was a very fun match to do. Was a little bit shorter.
The Darby and Scarlett spot was pretty cool too.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. I loved how involved Scarlett was, because usually we just see her just screaming Romanian, at people while they're fighting Cross. But here she was clawing people with her big nails, as Austin Theory said on NXT, and then also trying to literally push Darby Allin to his death. I loved how involved she was. I hope to see more of that, honestly.
Yeah, that's definitely something, always trying to do something a little bit different than what you see in WWE. And it was really fun to use her in that way.
And I also saw that you were using the Boss Fight Studio weapons there. I know obviously the light tube, but I also recognize the table and the barbed wire stuff. How is that stuff compared to stuff you'd get from Mattel or even from Ringside? That big old Ringside Extreme set that came with barbed wire and stuff. Which do you prefer to use, honestly? Which was easier to use for you while filming?
I think the barbed wire looks a little more realistic from the boss fight, and the table breaks much easier than the Ringside ones. If you filmed with the Ringside ones, you probably know.
Oh man,
oh my god, as bad as the wooden ones are, they are not as bad as the announce tables. The announce
Right.
tables are literally like rocks.
My dude, try do vid-fed stuff with those tables. Like they don't want to break. I'm literally punching it with my fist. It ain't breaking, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. They really built that to withstand little toddlers smashing their figures on there. And it's not even like that. They went above and beyond. They made sure that even adults couldn't break that with their bare fists. And so you got to literally like just take them apart with your own hand and just place the parts you want to where you want to film this shit at that point.
Yeah, the Mattel ones are definitely way better than announcers tables.
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I really wish that Mattel would make like an Ultimate Edition table or something like that breaks into 3 pieces, maybe even 4 if you want to get ballsy.
Yeah,
they
should make a new table design and like a different color too, because the real tables are more darker. But that's me loving the detail.
They used to have black ones from time to time. I remember that. Yeah, I had a black one. I think it came with like a Bam Bam Bigelow Elite
and the Dudleys.
Yeah, and that too. Yeah, that's
so. Tell us your project this week. You did a match with commentary of Roman Reigns and Mil Muertes.
Yeah, okay. I was waiting on your pronunciation of that. All right, because a lot of people called like Mil Muertes or Mil Miertes or all that stuff. I was like, oh my goodness, if I could slap you across this freaking monitor right now because. I'm just kidding. But yeah, Mil Muertes versus Roman Reigns. That was one of my favorite matches to film in Winter Slam on its initial release when it was just a music fed. And I thought that since G-Man and Pentagon did so well, I thought that maybe I should go back and quote unquote remaster some matches with commentary and sound effects, at the dismay of my patience, because like I said last week, I'm not a very patient man when it comes to editing things. But when it comes to this, I think it came out pretty well. And with Roman Reigns and Mil Muertes, that was like a story going on in my Instagram storylines and stuff like that. Mil Muertes, he had a fight with Dean Ambrose in a pay-per-view called Zombieland. It was Falls Count Anywhere. And he literally took a boulder. They were fighting on an outside venue, and Mil Muertes took a boulder and smashed it on the top of Dean Ambrose's head, pretty much just writing him off the entire show. And then Roman Reigns wants to get vengeance, for his brother. And so, boom, the final bell at Winter Slam.
I'll tell you what would have been good if you actually showed that right before the match.
Yeah, but
I think that would have helped a lot.
Yeah, the thing is, it's like that was filmed in a long time ago, and I used layout. So if I just put a screenshot of the layout match, I don't know how good that would have been received.
Well, you could have shown just like still photos of it and just like talk over it, like WWE does that when they're recapping pay-per-views. Yeah, I think that would have helped.
Yeah, another thing I thought of about that is like, because I was at one point I was doing like the recap videos. I know Luke knows about them. They're like the plot recaps. I thought like I'd just cover that part of the storyline in a future chapter of that whenever I get back to doing those. That match was one of my favorites to do, and I know how like last week I said I wasn't very much a improv filmer. That whole match was improv. Which is really surprising to me because it came out so well. Probably because I know more about like Roman Reigns' moveset and Mil Muertes at the same time, and I can think of like good sequences for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys.
Through the stage. That was cool.
The
stage.
Yeah, the LED stuff. I had to search for like the sound of the big explosion, the big kabooms of people going through the stages and stuff. And yeah, I just really wanted to show the vicious power that Mil Muertes has. I wanted him to look like this unstoppable beast because we all saw what he did to Edge at Birthday Bash, but you guys kind of I don't want you guys to sleep on what he did to Roman Reigns. Literally threw him through a screen,
Yeah.
And so like now, like I want people to know the name of Mil Muertes because in real life, Mil Muertes. I look on his Instagram and stuff in his posts and it makes me sad because he posts a picture of himself or a t-shirt and stuff, and on the description, on the bio or whatever, the caption, it says bookings available, DM me, right? He's begging for work, and he shouldn't. The guy is so good at what he does. He's way too good at what he does to be where he's at right now. I honestly kind of pitched the idea of him being the exalted one in the Dark Order, you know, because I don't know if anyone here has watched Lucha Underground, but Mil Muertes was like the original Dark Order, you know, in Lucha Underground. He had like the Disciples of Death. He had Katrina. He had all this ambience of just complete dread, and he was just this monster. So now I wanted to use the opportunity to have a custom of him in my Fed and just really show how vicious and scary this guy can be. And I think so far I'm doing a pretty good job of that. I don't know. I don't want to toot my own horn, but you know, just go and watch
building him up.
Yeah, just good.
I feel like now people will know what to expect, like on future pay-per-views from a Mil Muertes match. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, one more thing on the match. Since you remastered it, I think you should have added 1, 2, 3 instead of just the 1 count.
Oh well, you know, like
linear falls and stuff.
Yeah,
all you had to do was just duplicate it.
Well, you got to realize that's a whole arena too. all the decorations and stuff. And
all you have to do is literally like duplicate the scene.
Yeah.
Just
use the same.
You don't have
pictures.
to reshoot anything. Just use the same pictures.
Well, the problem with that is like when I filmed it, it was intended to be just the 1, right? So when I filmed it, I didn't do the 1, 2. I didn't have the referee smacking his hand on the ground.
Yeah, but all you have to do is duplicate it. Oh, you didn't have any smack on the hand.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I couldn't do that. If I could, if I did, I definitely would have done that. But since not,
I get it.
So definitely. But don't worry, guys. If I ever come back to fetting like full time, I'll definitely do the 1, 2, 3s. Okay, I'll definitely do the 3 counts. But man, like that's my video. That's what I kind of accomplished this week. I worked on it for a while, kind of like on and off, because, you know, for me, a guy like me, I get exhausted when working on editing videos and stuff like that. So yeah, this one was been a long time in the making, and I'd really appreciate if you guys, if you haven't watched that video, go and watch it. And you know what? Go and watch the original Winter Slam and tell me which one you want to see remastered next. Because, you know, I really enjoy, even though I don't enjoy the process of making these things, I enjoy the outcome and the reactions people, you know, give out to it. But that's enough about me. What about you? You know, Mr. Big Shot, you got the Edge and Seth Rollins matchup.
Yeah, as for me, I've been a busy boy. I got a lot of stuff going on right now, and I did Edge versus Seth Rollins SummerSlam prediction match, and I'd just like to preview the match, kind of put my spin on it, how I think it should go, how I would book it. And that match took me way longer than I thought it would. It actually took me 10 like to 11 days to make it, which is like way too long.
What was the longest process of it? What was the longest aspect to do?
It's like the entrances took like a day each for each entrance, and then I was only getting like a minute of action done like each day. I don't know. It just took way long for some reason. And then
what I meant to ask here is, you did this with the different Rollins head scans, right? And did you have to like use heat to change that every time, or did you figure out something that you can make it like an ultimate edition where it's easier to swap the heads?
No, fun fact, I actually bought a second Rollins just for this, just to put
you bought a whole other figure. See what I would have done. It's like, because like what I did, I remember I got this one Kofi Kingston, you know, that WrestleMania one that had like the dumb head scan with the really tight pigtails that really looked like they were just yanking on his face. I changed it to another head scan, but the thing is, you know, you have to apply heat, and I didn't really feel like doing that. So I popped the heads off with the heat, and then I took an X-Acto knife, and then I just shaved around the plastic inside of the head. And and I think this is a great tip for you guys if you ever want to like easily pop off heads. This is a good project for you guys. Really be careful. Parental supervision advised. Exacto knives, they're no joke. So you go in there, you carefully go into the hole where the peg is supposed to go in, and you just carve out the edges of it until you can comfortably just pop on and off the head.
Yeah, I don't trust myself to do that, so I just bought another figure. But yeah, for the match, man, like, yeah, I think it came off pretty well. I got Danny on commentary and tried a 2-man commentary. We'll see if that continues, but I think it worked really well for the match. How was your experience, Danny, doing the commentary for that?
Hell. If I'm really being honest with you, I'm just kidding. I'm over exaggerating. See, because believe it or not, commentating for GCW and WSCs are completely different beasts altogether. GCW, how it's set up, I usually do my stuff first, and then Luke records his stuff in post. Essentially, I'm switching positions here for WSC. He records his stuff first, and I got to worry about the timing of each comment that I make and make sure that it doesn't talk over him so that we don't seem like we hate each other on commentary trying to freaking cut each other off and stuff. And so what I do for WSC, I don't commentate as I watch the video. I do that with GCW. I watch the whole video in real time, and then I commentate over it real time. But with WSC videos, I essentially have to record how a voice actor does it. They just record their lines separately so that the person who's editing it can just cut things off, what they want to use, what they don't.
Yeah, so with SummerSlam, I wanted to do like 3 matches for SummerSlam. I wanted to do Rollins, Edge, Reigns, Cena, Lashley, and Goldberg. But yeah, it just took me way too long to make Seth and Edge. And I don't know if that's just because like I didn't get enough done in the days I needed to, or if it was just I was putting too much detail. Things were just it was taking too long. And maybe it's because it's not like a hardcore match, and it was more like a lot of pick fetty kind of stuff. So maybe that took longer. But yeah, so I just had to do an unboxing. I had a bunch of figures. By the time this comes out, the unboxing will be up. So go check that out. But right now, I'm grinding. I'm on a big deadline for Cena Reigns, and I don't know if I'm going to get a full match of that out by SummerSlam. So, yeah, it's really hell right now. I'm trying my hardest to try to get that out, but I've got like 4 days, and I got Rollins and Edge out in 10 days. So I got to really try hard and try and get it out. And the Edge and Rollins one got delayed a little bit when it was supposed to come out because I had issues with my editor and had to wait for Danny to do commentary. So yeah, we'll see how things go. Wish me luck. I'm trying my best to get these videos out for you guys, and I hope you like them.
Here I thought it was all my fault because you hit me up at like 5 a.m. talking about I'm gonna record now, and I'm like, dude, I gotta I have to I gotta sleep sometimes, even though my sleeping schedule is already kaput.
No, I should have gotten the video to you earlier, but my editor fell asleep.
Sleep
when
is
he was supposed to finish the
progress. I guess
Yeah.
sleep is just the biggest enemy of progress, as it seems. Maybe we should all take a page out of Luke's book and just get a crap ton of Monster energy drinks in our refrigerators and just gulp that down whenever we're working.
Yeah, that definitely helps. But what I wanted to ask, like, you do these WWE preview matches and the WSC matches. Like, how do you decide, like, on a WWE pay-per-view? Is it like your excitement about the match itself? Like, yeah, I want to do this in figure form, or like, how do you decide on what matches you do, or if you just do WSC matches instead?
Well, I feel like I can do WSC matches anytime. It's only once in a lifetime you can do Edge and Rollins at SummerSlam. So, and I'm excited for that match, so I wanted to do that. And, I want something for everybody. If they like WSC, I'll do that. If they like just WWE stuff, I'll do that too. So, that's just basically how I do it. If I'm excited for it, I'll do it.
And I feel like the entrances, you put so much detail into it that I think like nobody really other than you does. And I feel like this could be like a nice transition also into our next topic, is the importance of entrances, right? That's something we wanted to talk about. And, you know, you said each entrance took you one day, and, you know, all the detail you put into it, it really just looks like the WWE entrances. Like, this is something I could never do because I hate filming entrances. How do you feel about it?
Hard. They're hard, man. I don't like posing walking, and it's annoying. And
you would think that the most simple thing a person can do would be the easiest thing to pose.
Yeah,
right?
no.
Yeah.
I like just doing them, like getting into a match because it moves and flows. But you know, with the entrance, like you just got to film a bunch of walking a lot of the time. And some entrances, like people do, you got to like really study how they do their entrance and try to figure it out. Like I just did like Cena's entrance a couple days ago, and you know that guy just wilds out. He just comes out there going crazy. Like, what the hell do you do? You know,
He's
you got to try
doing the
to
little
figure something
hoppity
out.
skippity boopity. That's
He just
what
goes
Edge
wild
does.
with the fans.
Hell yeah.
So you got to like kind of study it, try to figure it out. But you know, I've got these like incredible stages and arena setups. I want to make big time production like videos and just the highest quality, and I want to be like WWE for like figures. And you know, I think entrances are a big part of that. And you know, if I like it, I feel like other people will like it too. So that's what I want to do.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy how much stuff you interpret into these things, especially like with the entrances and stuff like that. I remember watching like the Seth Rollins one, and you just had him spinning around and stuff. And I know that can't be easy because I remember trying to pose a Tyler Bate spinneroonie airplane spin, and I could never really just get it right. All these little stuff. You would think that like these small poses would be the easiest to do, but you know they prove you wrong every time. They have a funny thing of doing that.
It's the walking, and two, one thing, if you have a stage with a ramp, don't have a stage with a ramp. It's no fun to pose on that.
Oh no.
And you know, in the VidFed, here's one thing, like I used to, you know, sometimes when it's just walking, like maybe I'll like use my hand and like move the figure down. Yeah, because like if it's just walking, you know, why not? You know, if it makes sense, I'll do that. But now with this new stage and these, because now I got like a whole set of fans right next to the ramp in front of me, so now I can't do that. So I have to actually pose it down. So yeah.
And then with the TV in the background, you know, I always run into the problem that, you know, I'm posing the entrance and then the next video starts playing, and you know that is so annoying as well.
Yeah, you got
so many things.
How I usually do it, you know, like, oh no, go ahead.
But the TV, there's some issues with it too because light reflects off it, and sometimes like you film it and then you see there's light reflecting off it, and you can't do anything about it. But you know, it's something you got to learn about and try and fix, and sometimes you just can't fix it. But I think the TV looks really awesome for the entrances. I'm super excited to get into using it more often.
Yeah, especially since like me, I don't have a TV like that. I gotta rely on the LED strips to give each character like their own theme color. Like when Muertes, he was purple, and Roman Reigns, he was blue. And
I had that before.
Yeah, so and me, I use the Mattel stage. I'm not good at building stages. I'm not good with thinking on how to build stages like that. So I just got to use what I got pretty much. But yeah, like you said, using a ramp is just hell because the figures will not stand on that thing for nobody. And when they do, it's like an act of God, you know, and they just fall off, and it's just terrible. Entrances to me aren't as bad, but it's just that ramp part. That's why I usually have like jump cuts during then. I'd like cut to the audience.
Well,
like,
also I've got like a really long, big entrance too. So it's like you got to take a lot of videos to get him down all the way to the ring.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, go with
one thing I wanted to talk about is we don't want to leave out the stop motion people because, you know,
not.
Yeah, because we're talking about pick feds, vid feds, let's talk about stop motion. And I think stop motion, when done right, is really, really awesome.
Yeah, just take
a
for
lot of
example,
the times,
take for example DGX animations.
yeah,
that guy is
one of
the
my
old classic
favorites.
ones.
One of my favorites is JWS owner. I
Oh
think his
yeah,
stuff is really awesome.
Yeah.
The only thing with that is like you can't really do storytelling. Nobody
Right.
does like commentary and does their own stories. It's just really just stealing WWE's, not stealing, but using WWE's commentary on it. And I don't think you get as much of a story and uniqueness to it.
yeah.
But
Sometimes
the
I
action, the
hear,
visuals, awesome.
yeah. Sometimes I hear like some of the commentary not even get their names right for the figures and stuff that are in there. Like they're talking about, oh, Enzo Amore just did a DDT, and I was like, dude, that's Pac. That's Pac in
But
the
let's
ring.
give props to them for even finding all that commentary to compile into
Yeah.
that. Like that must be hell.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
must be, yeah.
But yeah, you
Oh,
definitely
wow.
can't do stop motion like full time, as it's like you can't like make a career out of it or anything unless you have like help, because stop motion takes way too long, and that's why a lot of us don't do stop motion. Me personally, like I don't have the stomach for it. I couldn't, I'd get too bored taking that many photos and stuff. Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
not my style, and you have to use a lot of string too. So yeah, I probably couldn't even do it.
All right. So for me, stop motion also wouldn't really work because the two things really that I'm excited about in pick fetting is the storylines and coming up with match sequences and stuff like that. And with stop motion, I just really couldn't get the amount of stuff done that I want to get done. I can't even get the stuff done pick fetting that I would like to get done. I would like to do so many more shows and stuff like that. But this stuff takes so long that, stop motion just would not work out for me. So maybe you have some opinions on that, Danny?
Yeah, like like I see a lot of comments on your comment section talking about, oh, why don't you just do stop motion and stuff. There was even a comment last episode that said like, oh, I don't get pick fed, you're already taking a lot of pictures, might as well do stop motion. You got to understand that stop motion in itself is like 10 times harder than pick fetting, because there's already enough patience going into pick fetting, so to add more to that is just exhausting. So you got to make sure that things are the way they are, and then you got to move every little inch until you can get like a second of footage. And even then, you did all of that just for a second. With pick fed, you can kind of it's kind of like you can just use your own imagination to see the moves happening. That's at least how I view it. And there's already the same effect going on there. And plus, with stop motions and stuff, they take so long to make. And at that point, if you really wanted to make like a career out of like how Luke or how Nathan do it, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Like to me, it's not going to happen. If you're going to try to do like stop motions and stuff, if you're going to do like stop motions and stuff and try to expect a career to come out of it, it's not going to happen, because you have so much time to invest in the stop motions and stuff. And by the time it comes out, people might have lost interest. You know what I'm saying?
And the people who do it just as a hobby, just as like a fun thing they like to do, it's like they don't have the time to be doing stop motions either. So I understand why they choose pick fed style to do that.
Yeah, man, it's just a lot easier, and it's a lot less stressful. Like me, a guy, I get easily stressed out when doing this stuff. And I know that sounds like a little bit of a wuss thing to say, but man.
I got so many rage quit moments with vid fetting, and you might have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, I do some like vid fed problem things on my stories, and I got plenty more where that comes from. I got some hilarious stuff, but there's a lot of cussing in it because I do get frustrated sometimes when stuff does not go my way.
Yeah, man, and I don't blame you, dude. There has been times I remember, like I was filming the Kenny Omega versus Drew McIntyre match at Winter Slam. There was a spot where Drew McIntyre was on top of the barricade. He was like standing on top of there. And I just could not for the life of me get those audience members to stay standing. They kept falling, and all of them were falling. And it's just like, oh my God. I was on a call with a friend of mine, and he was hearing how upset and just angry I was trying to film that spot in the match. You know, it's just this kind of stuff is just, it's just terrible on your psyche sometimes.
Bro, when you're doing like when you're doing a vid-fed thing, say like you're trying to do some like flip or a fall or something, just imagine like you film a perfect one, but you realize you weren't filming and you missed the whole thing. Imagine how frustrating that is.
Yeah.
That sucks, bro.
Yeah, that's why.
What were you saying, Luke?
For me, like a very frustrating thing is like, you know, just when you're pick fedding and stuff doesn't go your way, you know, you really know you need to stop now. But then once you stop, you just sit there and think about like, oh, but I want to get this match out, the show out and stuff like that. It ruins your entire day pretty much for me.
Yeah. So what I want to know from you guys, like how long does a normal match, let's say like 10 to 15 minutes, how long does that take you to make? But let's start with you, Luke.
This is really, really tough because it always depends on how the match just flows you know. It depends on like, I don't know, however you want to call it, like how you're doing mentally during these days you're filming. Because some days you just wake up, you're motivated to film and you go at it. But then there are other days where you just wake up and you feel like, what am I doing with my life? Why am I running a pick fed show?
Exactly.
This is at least for me like that, which is really weird. I don't really get it. Why there are days like that and then there are days like that. I always thought back in the day that I had depression or whatever because I couldn't explain myself why. On some days I feel like really excited about it and on the next day I just don't. But getting that out of the way, a match that flows very well, 10 minutes, like are we talking about the match with entrances or like the whole video? For example, the recent GCW Extreme thing that I think went like 9 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever. I filmed filming time was probably like 5 or 6 hours of it. And then, you know, the editing comes in and stuff like that.
That's quick. Well, you filmed that in a day.
Yeah, that one I didn't film in a day because I ran into these, I don't know, I just didn't know what to do and the flow wasn't there and it kind of was ruined for me there, so it took me a bit longer than I wanted. But yeah, occasionally I have filmed like a match in a day.
Geez, how are you not getting more stuff out if you're filming it in a day? You have a lot of other stuff that you're doing.
Come on. He's not a machine, dude. Like this takes a toll on him mentally and physically, believe it.
Well, I mean, he's getting him out, he's finishing him in a day.
I mean, if not all
you can do that
them,
in a day.
Like you said, it always kind of depends on the kind of match that you're filming.
Yeah.
Like I remember that Ultimate X match that I did for WrestleMania. That was surprisingly easy and fast for me to film because
everyone does a reverse Rana. Everyone's flying everywhere. Everyone's doing flips. You know, you could pretty much just say
like there were a lot of big moves where there was like a lot of selling and downtime. But in a match with like Kenny Omega and Seth Rollins, who were like really going at it with the counters, with the really like complex poses, that took me forever. So it really depends on the kind of match. And I really feel like if you do like you mentioned earlier, that kind of hardcore match, that is surprisingly more easy to film than like a technical match like Edge and Rollins or Rollins and Omega or something like that.
Yeah, because you could really
side note, for you, Luke, or even for you, Danny, when you're doing like a pick-fed show and you got to do all these matches to set up other things, are there matches where you're like, I have to do this, but I'm not really excited about doing this. It's not really something I want to do, but I have to do it? Because for me, it's more like, okay, it's like it's more selective. It's not like a show where I have to have like, you know, on a Raw, you have to have a certain match to build up to some other match or something like that. How is it for you guys? Are you always like motivated or excited to do every match that you do?
For me, it's like I look at a storyline that I'm planning and I have to build up a certain person to look strong or to look weak or whatever, right? I can't just have them upright fight the dude that I'm planning on having him fight in a pay-per-view. I have to build that guy up. That's why Mil Muertes, I didn't just straight up just have him fight Roman Reigns out of nowhere. I had him fight Dean Ambrose, and then I had him fight Rob Van Dam, and then Roman Reigns at Winter Slam. Like for me, it's like kind of like a rising action, falling action type of structure. It's kind of like a plot of a movie, Like you don't want to watch a movie where the superhero fights the villain in the first 10 minutes. Like you got to build up to that. That's kind of like how I view things. But there definitely are matches that I wish I wouldn't do, like Pete Dunne versus Marty Scurll at Winter Slam. I hated that match. I did not want to do that match. But the thing is, I wanted to.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's the one. But the thing is, I had to do it because I didn't want to cancel a match. I didn't want to be those guys who like cancel matches left and right and stuff like that. And at that point, it's just like, why even book it in the first place? If you didn't think you were going to have fun with it, why even book it in the first place? So I had to persevere and do what I needed to do for that match. That match was okay, in my opinion, but I wanted to build up Pete Dunne as this dude who just does not give a damn about nobody, and he's just a fighter, and he doesn't care. He just hurts people and stuff like that. And yeah, at that point, you just got to really just hone in on the idea of what is to come for that storyline, especially when you book a guy in a match that you don't really want to do. You got to do it, or else it's like, we're just going to skip this and just pretend like we knew all about this guy on the way to fighting the other guy. That's kind of whack to me. But what about you, Luke? What do you think about that?
So I definitely had a lot of matches in the past that I, when it got to filming them, I was like dreading them and stuff like that. But I have over time become very selective because I know of that happening. And so if there's a match that I really can't get into, then I just call, can you say, an audible and cut it short. That's what I usually do, because like on a wrestling show, you usually have these matches. Some are longer, some are shorter. So especially with the whole pay-per-views that I always do, I feel like it's good to have like a shorter match every once in a while. And I don't really plan that out, like, oh, this match is going to go this long, or this match is going to go this long. It's more like, the big matches, obviously, I want to have like a decent length match. But like if on the undercard there's a match that I'm really not feeling, I'll just cut it short.
Yeah, I feel that.
And I know you like film things differently. You just have like matches just to have matches. I think I remember you describing it as a gladiator arena.
That's basically the idea. You have your champion, and then you got the gladiators. They come in and challenge the champion, and we kind of tell stories throughout the matches, throughout the videos, and kind of weave things together that way, instead of like doing episodes where we have filler matches in order to set up things. That's kind of the way we like to do that.
For like that, I think that's the difference between like a WSC or a GCW or an FAW. GCW and FAW, they got to build up their characters, to make them look strong, like how I'm doing with Mil Muertes, and how Luke's doing with like AJ Styles. We got to build them up. We can't just take the name and just say, oh, that's a good match, because there's a lot of people in PickFed that they just rely on dream matches and that's it. Like, and people are just going to go and see their stuff. Like, I don't know, let's say, what is a good example? Because like PickFed, like I said, has been going on for a long time, and people have done dream matches up the wazoo.
Oh, this is where I feel like it kind of comes in, like, having your creative stuff, and then that interferes like kind of with the stuff that will do well on YouTube. Like the big matches, they will always do obviously much better views wise. So this is kind of where you need to figure out a balance, where you still get people to watch the stuff, but you also don't compromise too much on your creative vision. This is how it is for me. My Fed would probably do a lot better if I just had WWE guys in it, but this is the whole fun for me, like to put New Japan guys in it, for example. And I know like Taichi is not going to draw views, but I love having him in the Fed.
And I guess like a perfect example for like a dream match that's kind of like tiresome at this point is AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. People have been doing that since like the first time they announced that they were going to fight each other. And I don't know what it was, like Money in the Bank 2019. Yeah, as soon as that happened, everyone in the big Fed community just started just doing that for their Feds. And at that point, like people, it's not cool anymore. I'm just going to come up here and say it, like AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, to me at least, isn't a dream match anymore. We saw it happen. It's like saying Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania 34 was a dream match. Like, no, it wasn't. We've seen it before. What are you talking about? It's just things like that kind of bug me about the whole, like, people not really doing anything with storylines and stuff. They're just putting dream matches together and thinking that's going to draw,
So back to the original question for you, Danny. How long does it take you to make a match?
Well, it really depends on who's in it. If it's a guy that I know the moveset inside and out, it won't take that long. But if it's a dude that I don't know much about, it's going to take a lot longer.
Let's say your most recent video with the commentary, the Roman Reigns Mil Muertes match. How long did that take to make with just filming?
Just filming it. I don't think it took that long. Because Roman Reigns' matches, I think, are best when they have stipulations to them. Like his feud with Braun Strowman back in 2017, I thought it was terrific. I thought it was lovely because, you have Roman Reigns, he was fighting against the odds against a big monster. So I would take some time to watch some stuff from Roman Reigns when he would fight Braun Strowman, which would be like maybe like a day, and then I started coming up with ideas of like sequences and stuff. And then I already know a lot about Mil Muertes. I'm a Lucha Underground mark after all. So then I look at both of them and I think like, oh, what would a match between these guys look like? It would just be a slugfest until they start doing some crazy stuff. And then I thought, of using the environment around them as a factor in it. You got to look at things outside of the box, especially when you're doing hardcore matches such as that. You can be limited when it comes to like one-on-one straight up singles matches because they can't use weapons. You can't do a lot of stuff with them. So the biggest thing to worry about is just like, do their styles complement each other well? Roman Reigns, he's a big guy, but he also jumps around. He does the big Superman punch. He runs around. Mil Muertes is more of a stationary guy, but sometimes you can do some crazy stuff too, like diving through the ropes.
So how many days would you say?
I think it took about like a week. To do because,
how much filming would you do in a day for that?
About a couple of hours because, with my old setup, I would have to, like I said, I'd have to like sit between the bunk beds and the whole setup itself. I had to sit crisscross applesauce, and then my legs would fall asleep. And after that, if I had like a good like a minute of stuff to upload on Unlisted and then look it over and see how the match is flowing, I think that's a good day's work, honestly. So it would be like a couple of hours or so thinking of what to do for the match. Kind of like, sometimes I did like take the figures and kind of play with them, to see like, oh, he's going.
Yeah, that's kind of how I book matches too. And I think in a future episode, we'll talk about the whole process behind planning a match and everything. And I think we'll do that at a later date. But yeah, that is something I do. I kind of use the figures. Not like I actually like play like a full match, as I know a lot of people would hope that I do that. But, that's just how I get my ideas out there. I have to like actually see it in play. I can't just think of it in my head. I have to like reenact it. I don't know why. It's just something I do.
And for me, sometimes like it's kind of hard to do that because I'm planning on another match with Mil Muertes with a guy that I don't have a figure of. So it's kind of hard to visualize what's going to happen if I don't have the other guy. Like I have a Mil Muertes. What am I going to use? Like a Big Show? That it's just gonna confuse me. you know. So it's stuff like that that really has to play a factor in it all.
So, Danny, you had some fan questions that you wanted to get into?
Oh, yes. Last week, I told you guys to type in some questions that you had for us, and you guys did not disappoint. So thank you. There's a round of applause for you guys. I'm probably going to edit something in. But, first question up is by Tim Timber. Do you think you could give me advice for my action figure feds? I don't have stop motion. Well, that's a tough question to answer, dude, because if you don't have stuff that you already have, like what we're going to tell you, like advice that I would give like off the bat is just make sure your posing's good. Take some time. Like last week I said, take some time to watch some feds or watch wrestling, practice on your own. You don't have to release something today, just kind of like work your craft a little bit. And
I think a good answer to that question, a good answer is keep watching Talking Feds, because you're going to get all the tips you're going to need.
All of them. So
every week, every Wednesday, you're going to need to listen to Talking
Wednesday,
Feds.
Times will vary. So, Tim Timber, thank you for the question. Hopefully, in the future, you'll take in some more advice from us.
Yeah,
and
get the notepad out.
Stuff. Another one by WWELY or WWE Lee. I don't know if I said that right, but says, what's your favorite figure match? Now, there's two ways to interpret this question. It could be favorite figure match that we've seen from someone else, or ones that we have done. What do you guys feel like answering today?
Honestly, not to toot my own horn, but my favorite figure match is something that I've done personally.
Ooh,
how about you guys?
You cocky little minx, you. What about you, Lee?
I honestly have no idea. I don't have a favorite.
Okay, I guess I'll be the one to officially answer this question then. Thanks for the help, guys. As far as my favorite match that I've ever seen, I would say AWF Wrestling's WrestleMania 3, I believe, main event, Seth Rollins versus Kenny Omega. That one was nuts because it went on for a long time, but you could feel it. Like it's one of the, because, how did you guys feel about the Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole match at TakeOver New York?
I don't remember it too much. I remember the finish had a lot of near falls, and it was kind of cool. And Johnny Gargano came out with the win.
I thought it was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in my life, because it told the story of Johnny Gargano. He's been chasing after this championship for so long, and he just wasn't going to let anything stop him, not even the Undisputed Era or Adam Cole's or all the finishers in the world. And I thought it was beautiful. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. That's the kind of feeling I had from AWF WrestleMania 3's main event, Kenny Omega versus Seth Rollins. I'll put a link in the description here, for this episode for that. But, once you guys watch that, it'll probably change your life. I think it will inspire a lot of people to do their own pick feds, if we haven't already. You know what I'm saying? But as far
not to piss off AWF, because we're cool. I watched one of his videos, and it was like a Dolph Ziggler and Bo Dallas match, and it was really good. It was really good, but then the near falls, and I just got so pissed off. Like, he was going for 40 minutes. It was like, end this match, man. Jesus Christ, how many near falls? Just shave it down, man. The story was good. I love the selling and everything, but Jesus, I just got so pissed off. I was like, come on, just end this match. Oh man.
I understand that view, but the way I saw it, I knew the story about Bo Dallas and Chris Jericho. Everyone wanted to see him go up against Chris Jericho at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was just the match could have ended 5 different times, but it was just getting annoying at some point.
For me,
how I felt.
For me, I love the match. The only problem I had with it is that AWF, you kind of booked yourself into a corner here, because if Bo Dallas was going to kick out of everything on God's green earth in that match,
then what's going to put him away?
What is Chris Jericho going to do to him at WrestleMania? It's like he's fighting Omni-Man, dude. It's just I for one love that match, but that wasn't my favorite match ever. I love that match because the whole near fall stuff, it was stupid. I'm not gonna lie, but the thing is, it was stupid with a purpose. it was stupid with a purpose because of the story behind Bo Dallas and AWF and stuff. And so I just looked at it more as a storyline thing instead of like, thinking logically thing. If that makes sense. Sometimes you got to do that for wrestling.
Yeah, maybe it would have helped with commentary too, like to better get that story across. He did it as someone who does it with music, doing like trying to tell the story within like the physical. I think he did well with that.
Yeah,
but commentary definitely would have helped.
Yeah, I would have lost my mind on commentary if I did that match. But as far as my favorite mid-figure match that I've ever done, surprisingly enough, it's not G-Man versus Pentagon. What it is Ricochet versus Aleister Black at Winter Slam. I just had so much fun planning that match because Ricochet is a fun guy to film with, in my opinion, at least, because you can pretty much make him do all kinds of flippy stuff and then it's believable. He's pretty much just Spider-Man. He can just do all this crazy stuff. And Aleister Black is just this ruthless guy who kicks you a lot and just victimizes you with his knees and his kicks. And it just floats so well. Everything about it just floats so well to me. And I try to tell the story of Aleister Black trying to do away with the past that was Ricochet, because I think we all remember Ricochet and Aleister Black when they first went to the main roster. Even before that, they were a tag team. And people love them, especially in NXT. So I wanted to tell the story of Aleister Black. He's gone past that, and he wants to end Ricochet because he wants to, he's like let go. He's on his Kylo Ren, phase. Oh, go forget the past, kill it if you have to, and all that stuff. So, and Ricochet, I just wanted to put on the narrative that he's the chosen one. He's the one to defeat Aleister Black for the championship. And that match went on for like 15 minutes, I think. And I loved every second of it. I just thought every single aspect of that match was perfect to me, especially the posing. I think that was my best pose match ever, if I'm really being honest with you guys. But, that's that for that question. Or, yeah. So no other comments on that question, guys?
Well, I haven't answered mine.
Oh, go ahead.
My favorite figure match probably has to be the Firefly Funhouse match between Jon Moxley and the Fiend, Bray Wyatt.
That's definitely my favorite that you've ever done.
I've pretty much made a movie. That was a movie, man. It was like a psychological thriller, horror movie, a superhero movie. It was just so fun to creatively break that down and go outside of the norm and just make something so like story driven and man, like just so many cool moments in that.
I see
one of my favorite matches.
Yeah, I see a lot of people trying to attempt the whole cinematic match stuff, and most of the times it just doesn't work because they view it. I don't know. It's just kind of like I feel like they view it as like a wrestling match, but like with fancy camera shots. That's what I think. That's what I think that they think this is. Like, no, that's the cinematic match is more on the psychological thing for me. Like how I'm doing FAW, I do like these audio dramas and stuff, and to really dive into the psychology of what these wrestlers are going through, So if there is a cinematic match, I'll do it and I'll have some fun with it, depending on what it's about. But what about you, Luke?
On cinematic matches?
No, your favorite match.
Yeah, your favorite match.
If you have one.
Done. If you do.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you. Like, no idea.
Is one of yours that sticks out?
No, not really. No.
Look at the humility of the guy.
You just got to go all out one day. Just put everything into it.
Yeah.
Just like make the match of your life, man.
I guess so. Yeah.
Next question is by All Neo WWE. How do you get your ideas for matches? I think we'll start off with right. Okay. Next question. Never mind. Ideas for matches. For me, I really look at like the storylines of things going on, like the G-Man match. I had to think of a way to get him to be noticed, so I had him fight Sami Zayn and Cassius Ohno in a triple threat match, and then I had him fight Pac because I thought that'd be a cool match. But then like things kind of escalated, and I'll tell you more about the story of G-Man and Pentagon. But the way I come up for ideas with matches is just like, okay, so I have this guy. He's the main character of his own story. What wrestler would be a good guy to have him fight to continue his story.
Well, what's the question? Is it like how do you come up with like booking within the matches, like what they do, or like just like the match itself?
I think
like
it's the match themselves. I think it's just the match themselves.
Yeah, it's basically like what you think's a good thing to do, and what kind of stories you want to tell. It's really all there is to it.
And I don't know.
An inspiration, maybe have inspiration from things that you see.
Yeah. I never actively sit down and think like, oh, what am I going to do? Like these things, like, I don't know, like how to describe it, but they just kind of come to me laying in bed, thinking about stuff. Like, I'm never like, oh, now I'm actively going to think about storylines. It's just like my mind wanders off. This is like how I get the ideas for most of my spots in the matches too. They just come to me laying in bed before sleeping or something like that. So yeah,
the shower is the best place for me with the ideas. I don't know why. I just get the best ideas in the shower.
Instead of just singing, like I guess Nathan's just, instead of singing in the shower, he's just performing spots in the shower. That's how you do your stuff. I guess so.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
All right. So if that's all we got to say to that question, let's do the next one. What was the controversy with Danny and WSC about the Riddle and Lesnar match? This question was by MFW. Oh, okay. I guess we sparked some interest last time about that little debacle between us. It wasn't much of any. It's not really a controversy. Like, let's just put that out there. It wasn't really a controversy. There was no ill will towards anybody. I just saw his match between Brock Lesnar and Matt Riddle, and I thought like Matt Riddle's been doing pretty cool. And Brock Lesnar versus Matt Riddle was a dream match to everybody. Everybody wanted to see it and stuff. And then Riddle comes in, gives Brock Lesnar, mind you, the guy who can, and I know this is a different universe, but let's put it out there. The guy who defeated the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak before anybody else, before Roman Reigns did it, before it was cool to beat Undertaker at WrestleMania, loses to one knee. And not only that, he's on loopy legs afterwards. I didn't get that. So I put it on my story. I reacted in a very like sarcastic way. And I was just looking at it. I was just like, and all that stuff. And then Nathan messaged me. He's like, oh, LMAO and stuff like that. And we just had a little conversation about that, about, I didn't get it. If it was me doing a Matt Riddle versus Brock Lesnar match, I would have had it been a bit more complicated than that.
Let me break down the decision behind that. So lay the scene out. We had Brock Lesnar versus Jon Moxley in an Asylum Steel Cage match. These two went all out. And up to that point, like every WSC match was just like full, like big fights where they're just going all out. And I just wanted to do something different, like I know Riddle and Lesnar would be such a great match, like going all out and everything, but you take two guys who are in the mixed martial artist field. They were both in the UFC, and I saw Cassius Ohno get knocked out by Riddle, and this is what kind of inspired it. And he was on loopy legs after too. So I wanted to give like the shock factor and do something different. And I wanted to make Riddle like elevate him to that main event scene, make him look legit. And so I wanted to just like go for that shock factor. And then he just knocks out Brock Lesnar, gets lucky, and just have like a UFC type finish. Because in UFC, anyone can get kneed in the face and get knocked out, and they're the winner, So that's kind of what the deal was with that.
There's just like, to me, I have to think about how will this make the other guy look, especially with a guy like Brock Lesnar. Like you said, he went all out with Moxley in a war in an Asylum match, and then he goes from that to getting knocked out by this new guy, Matt Riddle, with one knee. And it's just like, look at Brock. He thought he was so tough. Now look at him. It's like that, It's like we can't. It's kind of like that thing where you want to elevate a guy, but what does that do with the other guy? Does it make him look weak, or do you have it be a way to make him look strong? Like I think
Sure.
I think a similar thing to talk about this, a similar scenario was with Matt Riddle versus Bane in Birthday Bash. Bane was going to go over. I wanted to have Matt Riddle have this thing where he's just desperate for attention. He was just desperate to make an impact. So he went up against the one guy who everyone was just scared to fight, Bane. And I was like, I don't want to squash him because Matt Riddle just went through like one of the more iconic moments in FAW history when he went blazing against Chris Jericho at WinterSlam. So I was like, dang, I got to do something. So I had Matt Riddle lose in a way that served his story. With Jay and Silent Bob, they left him, they abandoned him, and that made him so distraught that Bane just ended him just like that with the Feast Your Eyes. But then I also did it in a way that Matt Riddle just wasn't ready to take on Bane. He tried his damnedest, but he just wasn't ready. So like to me, like that was a good way to make someone lose, but make them look good. But I get what you're saying. You wanted to go with like the shock factor thing, and I get that.
And like who says that Lesnar's story is finished? Him and Matt Riddle can pick it up later on. Maybe like he has some redemption arc coming. Who knows? You have to wait and see on that.
Maybe. Yeah, that's where I want to ask a follow up. Like, how do you plan like the match finishes? Like where you say, okay, this move is like enough to end the match, because you have like these different kind of matches. For example, the Deadly Games, where like, if this would be real life, the people would be dead, right? And in other matches, they're kind of more like a normal match. Like, how do you decide on the finishes? Like what moves can end a match and stuff like that?
You just think of cool finishes for the match. I mean,
I mean, like on the Deathly Games, for example, like the people.
I mean, but there's no pinfalls. There's no pinfalls in Deadly Games.
Yeah, but they would get back up after stuff like that, and that.
So you're talking about like
the selling of a move,
stuff. Okay,
the selling of like them falling off like something really high, and because usually in any other match, I feel like that would be it for the guy in the match.
Well, sometimes when you're filming a match, or sometimes when you're booking a match on paper, you book it with the idea that it would take longer for them to get up from something. But when you're actually filming it, sometimes it ends up that they're getting up a lot faster than you had anticipated. So
yeah,
if that happens, that's just one of those things.
For me, I always go with the rule, like, is this something like they would not die from in real life?
Well, Deadly Games is a little bit of an extreme.
Yeah.
So, definitely. Yeah. So
yeah,
definitely. So
like Ricochet should be fully dead.
But instead he had like like he was just off the grid for a while with his neck brace and the wheelchair, and I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so while we get ready to wrap things up and take it all home, we got one last question, and this is by what kind of name is this? Hagrid's dirty cousin 123. What do you do to stay interested while filming? Good one.
All right, let's hear from Luke first.
So I usually just have podcasts running in the background. I never really do music much. It's usually podcasts. I put them on in the background and I listen to them while I film. And that's pretty much all I can say.
What podcasts do you listen to?
I mean, for what people might know, like I do listen to Joe Rogan, stuff like that.
Okay.
But I also listen to a lot of other stuff that, nobody here is going to be familiar with. So,
well, drop a name. Maybe you don't ever know. Maybe you got like a 40-year-old guy who says like, "Oh,
I guarantee you there's not much interest in stuff like that."
Okay, well, what's? Can you tell me what do they talk about?
Well, it's mostly about. It's like really hard to explain because you're going to use society's words, and it won't really translate to what it really is, but it's about truth in everything. Yeah,
look at that, freaking Lucas on that namaste stuff, dude.
It is exactly not that. It's exactly not that. Yeah. That's exactly what I knew would come. This is why I don't really like to talk about it.
Sheesh. Okay, I guess I'm just a freaking filthy normie then.
No, you're not. This is just not where your interest lies, and that's totally fine. And I know there's not many people interested in that kind of stuff. They rather watch movies or whatever, which is fine.
Okay, well, that's Luke on his spiritual journey.
It's not a spiritual thing.
It's just what I always think when you talk about, when you said just fat ass truth.
Truth,
you know?
Yes, truth in everything.
Truth in everything.
And spirituality in that case is also just false. It's not truth. It's just nonsense.
There you go.
It doesn't lead anywhere.
There you go.
But,
where else other than talking feds are you gonna get a pig fedder talking about like the I can't even say it because it's probably going to be wrong again. So we're just going to move on. We're just going to move on to Nathan. What do you do to keep yourself interested while filming?
For me, I'm like pretty easily distracted, and I get bored easily too. So I need to have something like to multitask with, but not something that's like too entertaining where I'm too distracted on like that. So I like listen to music. Oh, geez, what the hell happened there? I listen to music. I watch movies. I got like the TV now. I used to use my iPad, but like I watch movies or TV. But sometimes I have to use the screen for like, the Trons and stuff. I have to use it for the Trons and stuff. So I watch movies or listen to music. Sometimes I listen to podcasts or something or watch YouTube videos. But yeah, definitely need something going in the background to keep me entertained.
Do you have like a favorite movie to put on, or is it like always different when you do it?
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's always different. Sometimes I binge watch some shows, like good go-tos, like How I Met Your Mother. Like I can just watch that for days. Like I've watched it. I've watched it 30 times. Like it's always funny to me. I just put on. I like comedy movies and stuff. So I put on comedy movies. I don't want to like watch action while I'm filming a vid-fed. So it's something light in the background that's going to keep you entertained and keep your mind occupied.
So you pretty much just stay away from wrestling then while doing vid-feds, and you don't put wrestling
I don't want to watch wrestling while it's like the action thing. Like I don't want to, because action you got to like watch it actively to see what's going on. But like if you're listening to if you have a comedy in the background, you can just kind of like listen to it.
Yeah, I feel you there. For me, it's kind of for me. What I do is just like I kind of like stay in the middle ground. Like sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. It's mainly like wrestling podcasts. Like I like JD from New York, even though I feel like he's very negative on things. Where it's just like, dude, can you just calm down? But
I see how you guys relate. You both yell all the time.
I'm gonna ignore you said that. I'm gonna ignore you said that and just keep going. But I watch podcasts like that. I also like Solid Monster Sounds Off. But those are like rare occasions where I put that. Usually what I do while filming, I'd actually call friends. I'd call friends who film as well, like while doing it. And then we kind of like discuss ideas for things, and like they discuss their booking plans and stuff like that. It kind of like inspires me to do, I don't want to say to do better.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, like I don't want to say like to do better, because none of this is really a competition. Like come on, okay, like let's be real here. It's like we're out here playing with toys. We're all in the same boat. No one should be trying to outdo the other unless they're like best friends and they just kind of just started doing this from the beginning. But for me, like I take it as inspiration. Like I feel the energy coming off of my friends from the phone in regards to creativity and pig fedding and stuff like that, and it kind of resonates with me, and then it makes me want to film some more. It makes me want to come up with more crazy ideas and stuff like that. So Lucas listens to certain podcasts that I am not qualified to understand, and Nathan listens to movies, and I just call friends. That's what we do. We can't really speak for anyone. You do you. You want to watch wrestling while you're filming, do that. You want to watch other pick feds, like that's a thing that a lot of people do. in the pig fed community. They watch other pig feds.
Well, yeah, I just don't want to be too distracted watching like wrestling or action movies or something.
Yeah,
because then like you're taking your eye off, like what you're trying to do with the filming.
Yeah,
like comedy or music is good to have in the background for me.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to keep your mind occupied. Like if you just do like, and I don't know who does it.
I could not do it in silence.
Like can you imagine a guy who does it in complete silence? Like that's a psychopath.
Psycho.
I actually do that sometimes.
Okay,
you're a psycho.
With that, we're gonna end things. All right,
and it relates exactly to the kind of content I usually listen to because it's about the mind as well and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in that kind of stuff, and it is not supposed to be like, oh, I'm so great for listening to that kind of stuff. This is just where my interest lies, instead of watching How I Met Your Mother or whatever, which is not me being superior or whatever. Like you tried to make it look. It's just where my interest lies.
I'm not trying to make it look. I'm just kidding with you, dude. I'm just playing. I'm just messing with you. It's just me memeing, dude.
Yeah.
It's just like if anyone was going to be like more so the intellectual between all three of us, it's probably Lucas.
Yeah.
I'm more the loudmouth guy, and Nathan's the cool dude who's popular or stuff. I don't know how to put it, but anyway, I think this has been a great episode of Talking Feds.
Definitely.
Yeah, and with that, we thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully we'll get Trey White, MDT, next time. Pray for him. Yeah. Hopefully he has a speedy recovery. And with that, we are out of here.
See ya.
Bye-bye.